With our context now in place, let's take a detour and implement a map in the next few lectures. So many kinds of applications require a map, and so this is a really nice feature to implement here. And we are going to implement this map with the help of a third-party package. So let's open up a new terminal here. So again, in our project folder, and then let's npm install React Leaflet, and then we also need to install basically the base library, which is Leaflet. So React Leaflet is like built on top of Leaflet, and so we need both of them installed. So this is basically the biggest open source library to implement maps. And if you took my complete JavaScript course, then we already used the same library there, even though we didn't use it from npm, but just installed it in a different way. But anyway, now we are ready to actually use this library. So let's close all we don't need here anymore, and let's open up the map component. So right here, we already have this JSX, but we will actually get rid of all of this, or most of it at least. Now, whenever we bring in a third-party library like this, it's a good idea to check out the documentation. And so let's just quickly search for React Leaflet. And so then here we get our documentation page. And here is some sample code that we're actually going to copy and paste in a minute here. But for now, let's go to the Getting Started tab. And so, yeah, here I'm actually interested in the installation part, just to show you what we already did, which was to install Leaflet and React Leaflet. And yeah, here is the part that I was looking for, because it says so that we also must set up our project using the base library. So basically this quick start document of the Leaflet base library. So again, the one that we're using is just built on top of this one. So what matters here is that we install, or that we include this CSS here. Now, I actually already did that. So if we check out the index.css file, then notice how up here we import already basically exactly this URL. Now, here the version number is a bit different, and we can change that. But we can also just leave it, probably because it's not going to make any difference. But I wanted to show you this because in the future, if you want to use this library yourself, then you also need to do this part. So also installing CSS. And now let's actually take this sample code here and bring it into our own application. So place that right here into this div. And so you see that basically what Leaflet React does is to give us all of these predefined components that we can then use in order to display the map itself, or some markers, and even pop-ups. So let's now include all of these libraries here, or all of these components. So map container, and then there we have our autocomplete. We need also the tile layer. We also have the marker and the pop-up. So marker and pop-up. Okay. And now the only problem that we have is the position. So we need to give this map container, which is the component that is actually responsible for rendering the map itself, some starting position. So let's create that here. So const, and I'm going to call it map position. And actually this should be state, because later on when this map position changes, we want the map then to re-render. So let's use a piece of state here, And as a starting position, I will create an array, and then let's say the latitude, which is the first value, is 40, and then the longitude, let's say 0. So the map container here, this center prop, expects an array of latitude and longitude. And so that's why I'm defining the position here like that. And then here, of course, we need to destructure that into map position and set map position. And so then here, let's replace this one and also here temporarily this marker. So let's give it a save and let's see. And well, that didn't really go as expected. Let's try to manually reload here. But well, there's no map to be seen. So let's maybe quit our application here and restart. So maybe we need that in order to get that package in, but apparently not. So still no map. So let's try to inspect here. So to see if anything was actually loaded. So here's that map container. And indeed, there is something there. So something new that we definitely didn't put there ourselves. So it is working, but as we can see up here, so there, the height of the element is actually 0. And so that's why we cannot see the map. And so the reason for that is that here, I actually forgot to include a class that I have already created. So here in this CSS module, so notice how here we have this map container, which we are already using, and we also have this map. And so this one, all it does is to set the height to 100%. And so on this one here, we already have the class, but now I also need to add it right here. So class name is styles.map. And here let's actually remove this event handler. And well, there's still no map, but here it is. Nice. So that works beautifully. So we can zoom out and move to different places. As you see, it then takes a bit of time to load these tiles. And speaking of the tiles, I actually want them to have a different style. So notice how here the maps looks a little bit different. So I think it does look a lot nicer. So a bit more in line with the colors of the rest of the application. And so for that, we need to change the URL here of the tiles. And one that I like is just very simple to change. Just change this here to fr, then /hot, and that's it. So maybe we need to manually reload. And there it is. So these colors, I think, are a lot more organic. Now, what I also want to do here is that I want to change the zoom when I scroll on my mouse. So right now, that doesn't happen, so that doesn't work, and that's because here the scroll wheel zoom prop is set to false. So let's just set that to true, come back here, and for some reason we always need to reload, but then that works. Nice. Now, for some reason, we don't get a pop-up there. So let's load that once again. And so, yeah, you see that if we click here, we actually get the text that is right here inside the pop-up. So this thing here is the marker, and what opens when we click is the pop-up. So of course, we don't want this one here in the starting position, but instead, we will want one pop-up for each of our cities. And so let's implement that in the next video.